Now at 6, two wildfires still racing throughout northern Utah. An update on the Ravine and Snoqualmie Fire.
Plus, the impact of those wildfires is far-reaching. What it means for wildlife in our state.
And the Salt Lake School District takes a stand vowing to protect students from unwarranted immigration enforcement.
Live from Utah's first TV station, ABC4 News at 6 starts now.
Good evening, I'm Emily Flores.
And I'm Glenn Mills. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Afternoon winds may be impacting efforts to fight the Ravine fire. That's the one in Tooele County. It has currently burned more than 1,700 acres, but we do have an update. It is now 10% contained.
Yeah, crews are fighting from the air and on the ground. About 110 personnel, we're told, have responded, including hotshot crews and helicopters. The main focus is to protect the nearby homes there, the power line infrastructure, as well as TV station transmitters that sit on the top of that mountain, including one of our very own. Now, this afternoon, we spoke to our engineer to see what the protocol is in case he has to evacuate.
We would try to prep the building for any minimal impact of any fire, including smoke intake. Set it to where it could operate normally on its own, unmanned, and then we would then evacuate the building from there.
Now, this fire is, as we just heard, 10% contained at this point, but officials are hoping to have an update within the next hour. When it's all released, we'll, of course, giving you the latest information on air and online at ABC4.com.
Turning now to the Snoqualmie Fire. That's been burning since Monday, scorching more than 120 acres in the Layton benches.
Officials saying at this point the fire remains uncontained. ABC4's Nick McGurk has the latest update. Nick.
Emily, the reality is we probably have some containment on this fire. We don't have those numbers yet, though, and so right now it's 0% containment. I want to show you this Layton neighborhood. This is a common sight. Fire hydrants hooked up, ready to go in case this fire starts spreading again, and I can show you exactly what the concern is. Look into the sky behind the home, and right there on the mountain, that charred area shows you just how close this fire got to these homes. The numbers that we have at this hour, more than 120 people had to be evacuated, more than 120 acres burned as well. The concern is steep terrain, possible dehydration for these firefighters, but as people come back into their homes, we kind of reflect on how scary it was when they had to evacuate.
It was horrible. We looked up and we saw the flames, and it was like 10:30 at night when our neighbor came and got us, and we came out and the whole mountain was on fire and it was moving down.
Residents I spoke with feeling a lot better today, but fire crews have left these hoses here for a reason. No word on the cause of this fire and no official containment as of yet. Live in Layton, I'm Nick McGurk, ABC4 News.
Nick, thank you so much for that. Well, outside of the lives and the property affected by these wildfires, the wildlife also sees long-lasting impacts following the flames.
Meteorologist Lana Brophy takes a look at how.
Wildfires along the Wasatch Front benches can devour vegetation. At times, they can displace wildlife, and fires make it pretty tough for several species in the coming months. Flames destroying homes and devastating property along the benches in northern Utah.
I thought it was crazy. I mean, we've never had anything like that since I've been here.
With the ripple effect oftentimes reaching animals. Bountiful resident Kristen Peden saying the loss of wildlife habitat is just another negative consequence of fire.
It makes me sad, you know, because, I mean, there's only so many places they can go, but, I mean, what can you do?
And the fire season this year has been different than years past. It's a grass fire season where we're seeing burning occurring more so in the lower elevations. Larger fires can often displace big game like deer, but it's impacts down the line that can be more worrisome.
They were a little lower elevation, you know, that has a little bit more of a negative impact on our wildlife species because they are coming into some of these lower areas to feed during the winter, and if it kills off a lot of that, you know, sagebrush and that type of food that they're taking during the winter, you know, sometimes it can be a little bit harder for them to find food.
Altering an ecosystem for years to come, and it's not just large animals. Wildfires can lure in trouble for local fish.
They can often be a lot more impacted, you know, from some of the stream runoff with ash coming into the the waterways, you know, that can kill off a lot of our fish populations.
The size of the fire also dictates the impact on an ecosystem, and fire season could linger for the next several weeks. Reporting in Bountiful, I'm Alana Brophy, ABC4 News.
Yeah, well, this hot weather not helping the wildfires across the state by any means.
No, it is not. Dan Pope joining us now. He's tracking it all in the Pinpoint Weather Center. Dan, fingers crossed that we can get some relief around here.
Yeah, we see a little bit of relief in the coming days, but probably not until Sunday. And I got to show you this. Watch this pyrocumulus cloud develop. It goes exploding up, almost like it was a volcano. That's the heat coming off of the wildfire, the Green Ravine wildfire along the Ochre Mountains. I mean, that is absolutely stunning how explosive the fire was. It's just so hot and dry today. Now, the air quality remains yellow in Davis, but in Salt Lake County, we are orange, and southern Utah, it is green. Now, we do have some thunder showers around. Here's a look at the wildfire conditions right now. Humidity 23%, winds are south 4, 87 degrees up on the mountain. That south wind will tend to push the fire up towards, unfortunately, the communication towers. We're going to keep our fingers crossed on that for sure. I'll have a look at that wetter Sunday forecast coming up just a bit.
All right, thank you, Dan. Well, as tension increases over separation of undocumented families on the southern border and beyond, the Salt Lake City School District is taking a stand, denouncing that practice and vowing to protect its students from unwarranted immigration enforcement at school. ABC4's Andrew Reeser shows us why the district is making this bold move.
Board members tell us they don't want worry over immigration custom enforcement to distract undocumented students from their education anymore. Upholding its 2017 Safe School resolution, the Salt Lake City School Board announced Tuesday that unless ICE officials have a signed warrant by a judge, no student, no matter their immigration status, should worry about action taken while they're at school. A fear board member Nate Salazar says is real for the district's majority-minority student body.
I believe our students and our families need to know that their school district is by their side.
The district vowed to not ask students about their immigration status or that of their families, and denounced recent federal action of separating undocumented families.
We're scared for my family that if we're going to be like separate, I don't know what's going to happen.
That's Suhey Rodriguez's biggest fear.
I feel safe here. Mexico is not safe for my kids. Yeah, a lot of violence, yeah.
She says both she and her husband are undocumented immigrants, and she fears one or both of them could be deported, separating them from their kids. Rodriguez applauds the district's commitment to kids, and Salazar says while ICE tends to tread lightly around enforcing the laws at schools, the district is working to figure out what their process will be to help any of their students that could be separated from family members.
I believe if diverse families, if immigrant refugee families know that diversity is celebrated, that really alleviates some of these fears and concerns that we have.
In Salt Lake City, Andrew Reeser, ABC4 News.
Utah County Clerk claiming success after a mobile voting pilot program. It gave residents living overseas the option to vote in the municipal primary using a mobile phone app. An audit shows 22 of the 58 eligible voters participated. That's a 38% turnout compared to just a 25% turnout countywide for the election. The mobile voters are residents of 7 of the 9 cities that held elections.
The National Cybersecurity Center had a third party verify the vote system, and they found no inconsistencies in their system. And then as far as votes cast and counted, we have found no inconsistencies to this point. So we're very happy with our results.
And by the way, you can do your own audit of the process as a citizen auditor. For a link and more information, just head over to our website, abc4.com.
Now to Salt Lake County, police are investigating a drive-by shooting in Taylorsville. This happened near a home at 47 South and Chantel Drive. Police say a neighbor reported hearing 10 to 20 shots, then heard a car speed off. Police confirming that a home had been hit by bullets, but no one was injured. Right now, police do not have a description of that car, but they ask if you know anything to please call them. And a mission president from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has passed away. Bradley Wayne Kirk was president of the Philippines Naga Mission. In a press release, the church explains that he had a stroke at his home on Monday and was taken to the hospital. He passed away early this morning at the age of 61. He leaves behind a wife and 3 children.
And to a health alert, the University of Utah joining more than 1,800 colleges and universities across the country that have gone 100% smoke and tobacco free. That means Rice-Eccles Stadium will no longer provide smoking areas for public events or Utah Utes football games. So unlike previous seasons, the smoking sections located around the perimeter of the stadium will be gone. In addition, there will be no re-entry to the stadium. That also applies, by the way, to the John M. Huntsman Center.
And the White House is funneling more money into fighting the nation's opioid crisis. Today, President Trump announced $1.8 billion in grants to confront the epidemic. About half of that money will go directly to states and U.S. territories, and the other half will go to the CDC to improve tracking overdose deaths. President Trump saying this is only the beginning. Last year, opioid overdose deaths in the U.S. dropped for the first time in decades. President Trump suggesting more improvements down the road, saying Americans will be amazed by the results of the new initiative.
More health news. Sadly, thousands of babies die each year in sleep-related incidents. Several hundred of these deaths occur when a baby isn't in a crib or bassinet. Doctors say results show allowing infants to sleep in a sitting device like a car seat carrier that's not actually in a vehicle or a stroller may be risky.
What they found is that most sleep-related deaths do occur in a routine sleep environment like a crib. However, the risk is high when you are in these seating devices.
If parents are concerned that a caregiver may not necessarily adhere to safety precautions, doctors recommend bringing that person along to the baby's next pediatrician visit. That way, everyone is on the same page when it comes to keeping babies safe.
So important. Well, still ahead from Georgia to the Carolinas and Virginia. The race is on to stay ahead of Hurricane Durian. A warning from authorities.
Boy, our weather is so changeable. Winds now are out of the south on the Colonial Flag Tower camera. You're looking at our Colonial Flag there fluttering in the wind. No thunderstorms yet today. I'll show you where they are, though, coming up in Utah's most accurate forecast.